Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada J. Here I am in the flesh. It's me. It's me. Okay, anyway, I'm just kidding. All right, so hey y'all. Okay, so I told you guys I was gonna be reviewing Too Close to Home, Tyler Perry's new show. So think it and it shall appear. I'm just gonna do an overview because it was a longer episode. But I really just wanted for this first, the first episode, I just want to give sort of an introduction of the characters. It is a good show. There was a couple scenes I had to skip because y'all know I, you know what I'm saying. So we're mature, of course, we're mature about it, but we just skip. You know what I mean? Just that's all you got to do. But this is a very good show. I would say the show is gonna go far. A lot of people I know were worried because they were saying they think it was like a knockoff version of Scandal. So I don't know. I don't watch Scandal. The only thing I am familiar with because some people do talk about it, and I do love Kerry Washington. So of course I know a little bit. All I know is that Kerry was messing with the president. So is that all that similar, you guys? Is it? I don't know. Anyway, the show is fire. I'll be clear about that. Just so this episode was called Dangerously Close, Alabama. All right. So we open up with Anna. All right, so Anna's coming into the bar to meet her friends. We have Anna, Dax, Valerie, and Victor. So Anna is the young lady who is messing around with the president. Now, what we get from Anna, she it was a small town girl. She's from Happy, Alabama. All right, Alabama, and Alabama. That was better. She's from Happy, Alabama, and she's ashamed of where she's from. She's even lying to her friends. She told them she's rich and this that she's going to visit her parents in Greece when really she's just ashamed of where she came from. So yeah, she's telling them all these lies and everything when really because they're thinking that they believe her because she's staying in this nice place and this that. Yet we find out the president has been paying to get her in this $4,000 a month apartment, and holding her up. You know what I'm saying? She's the mistress. You feel me? So, and the wife of the president shut her down. By the way, I like how Tyler kind of just gave it all to us, so it's not just this is here we go again with the having to wait a long time to reveal the affair. Because then I know people would have been like, oh, now he's trying to do the love he was wrong. Then we had to wait, seasons for the Randall Ellison to come to light. So Anna is busted. Okay, so as her and the president are whatever, he has a heart attack on top of her. You feel me? So now she's like, oh snap, she runs out of the office, right? And before this, I want to say the wife was outside because she was in bed or whatever. She notices her husband's not in bed. So she gets up and she goes to the Oval Office. And, Larry, the Secret Service, one of the guys, is in front of the door. She's like, oh, can I go in there? He's like, no, ma'am, he's in a meeting. Oh, with who? Ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't say. Oh, okay. And so she just goes and sits, there's a little bench by the door. So he's like, ma'am, I'll be happy to let you know when, he's leaving the meeting or whatever. She's like, oh, no, I'll just sit right here. So when he has the heart attack, she runs out of the room. So the wife is sitting there. So she's like, I didn't do anything. I swear, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. So the thing that was floating around after the fact is that, he had the flu or whatever. So she runs out the room, got the freaking dress unzipped. The wife is now she's just eyeing the girl like, okay, so you were having an affair. Because if we go back, we realize this because when Anna is flirting it up with the president, the wife is all kind of like, she wasn't flirting with him. There was a moment where he was in there with royalty and he didn't remember their name, and it's her job as the person in the social office, she's an intern, to when he doesn't remember a name or something like that, Queen Elizabeth or something, but who don't know Queen Elizabeth, but just for example, she was checking her phone because her sister was calling her, so she was checking her phone, so he got mad. So his secretary or whatever, she was like, oh, I have to apologize for the new intern or whatever. He's like, yeah, just bring her in. So they bring her in and he like scolds Anna, like, what were you doing? Were you distracted? If you want to make it in this town and blah, 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 this is what you want to do, right? So don't embarrass yourself and this and the third. So the wife is standing there looking at him the whole time, and the girl like at Anna like, what is going on right here? Because this is a little over the top. So when she leaves, he's like, she goes, why did you just humiliate that girl like that? Like, why didn't you just have her fired? You don't have time for this. Just, you should have just let her go. She's like, I'm sure I could have her removed. He was like, no, no, you know, because at first she tried to make it seem like he was too hard on her. Then it was kind of like, you really don't even have time for this. Like, why don't you just fire the poor girl and just be out? And he was like, no, no, you know, I got this and blah, blah, blah. So the wife has found out, clearly she ran out of the Oval Office. Her husband was having an affair. She goes to Anna's apartment, you know, that he's holding her up in. And so she comes in and throws Anna's behind out, like, which, you're up out of here. So Anna is now begging. She's like, no, I'm sorry. I tried to end it with him, please. You know, he wouldn't let me. She was like, oh, I'm sure he did. My husband can be very controlling. And then she goes, I promise I won't tell anybody about what happened. She goes, oh, you don't have to. I will. She's like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, I'm releasing your name to the press and this, that. And she's like, why would you do that? She was like, your job is to protect him. She goes, my job is to protect him. She goes, I didn't mean to offend you. She goes, oh, you didn't mean to offend me, but you're messing with my husband, right? Because then when she said that, she goes, I'm an Ivy League powered attorney, baby. So I don't know what. She goes, that's not what I meant. You know, I know this, that, and the third. She was like, I'm just trying to say, you know, you don't want to do that to your family. She was like, no, what you're trying to do is save yourself. So then she calls in the Secret Service. She goes, Larry, guys, come on in. She goes, take everything. It's out. She goes, no, 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 please. You know, it's mine. It's mine. And this, that. She goes, oh, no, honey. This ain't yours. That's when she started trying to beg and all this, like, you know, please and this, that. So that's Anna. All right. She don't want to go back home. She's going to have to. She ends up meeting this John dude. She met him when she was first at the bar with her friends. She met John. He was trying to push up on her. And then we find out the president has somebody following her. And her friend Valerie took a picture when she tried to get her to dance with the guy John, but she wasn't going for it. But so Valerie pushed her on him and took like a quick picture and like posted it on Instagram or whatever. So she's like, no, take it down, take it down. And we find out that's because the president is really possessive of her. So yeah, so she meets John again as she's, you know, kind of figuring out what she's going to do with her life, but not before she goes she tells Valerie everything about her friend Valerie. She tells Valerie, you know, this, that, and the third happened with me and the president. Valerie is just like, no, like, I don't want to know this. You know, you don't tell me this. I don't want to know. This is the kind of thing that ruins lives. So then so Valerie tells Dax, who's gay, by the way, just for context. His boyfriend is Victor. And so she tells Dax, so she goes to the house like, oh, can I borrow some money? And it's like, first she asks, can I stay here? So Dax is like, no, 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 honey, we can't have anything to do with this. Valerie storms out. She's like, you ruined our lives in the process like that. How could you be so selfish? You know, we trying to have careers in politics too. You messed this up for us. Dax is he's trying to go easy on her because, you know, he don't want to tag team. But when Valerie leaves, he goes, you know, she's right? Like, you ruined everything. She goes, please, I need to stay here for a couple more nights. And he's like, what are you talking about? You told us you were rich. Just call your parents. Your mom's a professor at Harvard. Your father is a high-powered attorney. Just call them to get the money. She's like, oh, I can't. Sorry, I thought I heard something. And so then Victor, his boyfriend, comes out and he's like, you can stay here. He was like, Dax is like, no, she can't. So then she's like, can I at least have some money to get home, please? He's like, I'm sorry. But Victor ends up giving her the money. So Dax, you know, wet noodle, he gets all mad and runs in the room. I don't know how I'm feeling about Dax because even in the first scene, when he was there with his boyfriend Victor, he's all kind of flirting with these dudes and just checking dudes out. And I wasn't feeling it. I was just like, if I was Victor, I'd be over it. You know, anyway. So that's Anna. Just, she doesn't want to go home, but it looks like that's her only option. And we find out John is a freaking journalist. He gets the scoop that she was the last person to be seen with the president. Because she sees him at the bar again, you know, she's getting drunk or whatever. He's like, come on, come to my house. She goes over to the house. Bam, you know, the next morning she wakes up, he gets a call. It's somebody, they're like, oh, you know, did you get the story and this, that? He turns on the TV, it's her. He's like, so he calls up, you know, his boss or whatever. He's like, yo, I got the girl down here right now. She's on my couch asleep. Like, what do I do? Whoever was on the phone, his boss, you know, at the journalist station, whatever, don't let her leave, don't let her leave. He was like, okay. And so he's like, she's about to win me the Pulitzer. You know, that's like a huge award for a journalist. And so he's laughing and stuff, kind of like, you know, I'm about to really get her. So then that's Anna right now. She's screwed. I'm over it. Like, how bad could you really feel? You know, you were sleeping with a woman's husband. So just, I really didn't feel so bad. And the wife was a bad chick too, because she was like, you think my husband was a monster? She goes, you have no idea the monster that stands before you. She was having no mercy on this girlfriend. It was no mercy on her. Just none. It was gone. It was over. She's over it. She's over it. All right. So then I guess we switched to Happy Happy Alabama, and we have Bonnie. Bonnie is somebody who you could tell she does a lot for other people before she does for herself. She's got her sister's son. You know, she's raising all these kids, and then she got this deadbeat boyfriend, JB. We're over him. At first, I didn't know because some people are a work in progress. So I was like, let's just see, is he that dude who needs a second chance? I don't think so. We're over it. So Brody, I guess, is like the rent collector because since his father can't do it no more. So Brody comes to the house. And he's like, you know, I need the rent money. So she's kind of trying to stall him, pretty much. I don't want to really go too far into it. And you could tell they had a little something. So she's like, you know, can I come? Because his father, I guess, has Alzheimer's, we find out later. But at the time, you know, he was just saying, you know, he's sick. So she's like, do you want me to come by the house, you know, to maybe I can come by at nighttime and, you know, and he was like, who's going to take care of your mother? She was like I said, I can come by at nighttime, cook for y'all and, you know, do all that. And then, you know, maybe you could pay me. So that's like my form of paying you because, you know, we don't got no money. He was like, nah, you know, I can't do it. He was like, is JB in there? She was like, yeah. He was like, why do you keep letting him back or something like that? So then, you know, they kind of get to this whole thing. And he's just like, nah, I'm good. He's just like, please get me the money from your mother. He leaves. All right. So we're over it. She goes back in the room, and but we see JB actually before this because he went to see Anna about some money, trying to say, oh, you gonna let your family you gonna let us not have no money? That's what you gonna do to us? And they call her Annie Bell. You know, that's her name, I guess, Annie Bell. So he's like, you just gonna let us, you know, whatever. And he asked her too. He was like, you up in this place, $4,000 a month, like you got some money, get us some money. She was like, it's just student loans. He was like, well, why don't you get us some of the money? She was like, it don't work like that. Like we knew she was lying. So anyway, we see JB again. I guess Bonnie in there trying to wake him up for work. He pulls her down like, oh, babe, and trying to kiss her. I'm tired and this, that, and we're over it. And she's like, where were you last night? And so she kind of finally drags out of him. Did you go see Annie? He's like, she should be helping out around here. You got your sister's kid. You got all these kids and this, that. We barely making ends meet. Da, da, da. But first, and then he asked her, he was like, who was that outside? She goes, Brody. He goes, dirtbag or whatever. I guess they got beef, it seems like. So that's Bonnie. You know, she's trying to support this man, and then later on, her sister comes into fruition. Her sister Shelby's a mess. I'm gonna just finish with her right now. Shelby came to the house. Bonnie has her son Mac. So Shelby just a straight up mess. You feel me? She's a drug addict. She slept with her sister's boyfriend. This episode, I don't want to say that because I have to remember that drug addiction is a disease. So I'm trying to be sensitive about it, but Shelby was really working my nerve. But I know she's not all there mentally because you got to remember that with drug addicts. We're still over it. I'm not making an excuse for her because she's still kind of pathetic for me. But I think we find out something about next week. Maybe the father was raping them. I'm not sure. There was something. How could you let him do that to me? And she's like, you think you were the only one? So I think it's going to be something like that because Anna's coming back to Happy Alabama. Happy Alabama. I'm sorry, my accent come and goes next week. All right. So, long story short, Bonnie catches her sister and him in the truck, you know. And so she kicks JB out. Shelby's son Mac knows that his mama is a mess. So he's over her. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know, my mama's out there and this, that. And she's like, look, I'll handle it. So she tells Shelby, you can stay the night. She's all over JB and this, that, and the third. So then the one thing leads to another. She's asking him for heroin and, you know, can I get a little taste and this, that? So then she ends up sleeping with him. He like, oh, I don't got no money. Like, after she already slept with him. She's like, what you mean you ain't got no money? And he's like, just get out of my truck. You know, just get out. She's like, no, I'm serious. Like, where's the stuff? Just come on. He's like, I don't got nothing. Now get out of my truck. She's like, no, I'm not getting out. So he tries to get out and go on her side. She has a gun to him. He's like, come on, open up the door because she locked the doors. He's like, come on, get out of my truck. She like, nah, get off the truck. Takes the truck and drives off. All right. We're over it. Okay, so Shelby's a mess. Now, Brody is the man I told you about who comes over there to get the rent for his dad. Now his father's sick. And Bonnie's mother is sick as well. And the kids have to go over there and give her food. Like, they have to take turns going over to her trailer. And I guess it's, like, really bad. Like, we haven't seen the grandma yet, but we got a glimpse of her next week. And I guess she's kind of, like, bedridden. Like, just, she can't, like, get out of bed or anything like that. And I guess it smells really bad in there because the one kid went in there and he vomits when he comes out, you know, giving the food to his grandmother. So yeah, Brody's father is sick. Bonnie goes over there to give him some food. One thing leads to another with them. You know, she's like, you remember you were in love with my sister Annie? And he was like, well, she's gone now. She's been gone for years. Remember, she liked the big city and all that. I wasn't good enough for her. She was like, yeah, but you like my sister. They start kissing. He's like, she's gone. You know, I never knew how special you were. She's like, that's because you were in love with my sister. He's like, you know, she's like, I'm with JB now. So he's like, that's not going to stop me from loving you. She's like, nah, I can't. He was like, well, that's why I can't have you working around my dad because I'm always be tempted and this, that. She's like, okay, well, if you change your mind, I could use the money. So they got something going on, but he probably still got feelings for Annie. We don't know because she gonna be coming back, but it looked like he feeling Bonnie right now. We're over it, and I'm over Annie because then when she come back next week, she was like, "Is Brody seeing anybody? Are you serious? Like you dumped this young man over for the big city because he wasn't good enough for you. You up here with the president, and then you come back to town. Is Brody seeing it? Like, girl, we're over you, and I'm pretty sure Brody is too. Like, people deserve second chances, so he decides to give her a second chance and all that. We're over it, okay? Because it just seems like you would dump him over again. Like, come on now, girl. I can't with that dude. I'm over it. I wouldn't even really be giving her the time of day if I was Brody. Like, I don't really want Bonnie and him to date though either, because that is your sister. So I mean, we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. So that's that's really everybody's story. I don't want to get too far into it just because it was a longer episode. I just wanted to give introduction to everybody. Um, there was at one point in the episode, Brody was, you know, with his dad. No, he was asleep, and his dad comes up. You know, he has Alzheimer's, so his dad comes upstairs with a gun, and you know, he holds the gun to him, and he's like, "Dad, you know, it's me." Like he just moved the gun because his dad was about to shoot on him, and he's like, "Jesse, like, where's your mother, Jesse?" And he's like, "Dad, it's me, Brody, it's me." And his dad breaks into tears. He's like, "Oh my God, son, like I'm so sorry." And this, dad, he's like, "I can't remember anything. I don't remember you. I don't know where I am." He's like, "Come on, help me, son, help me." He was like, Dad, I'm trying. He starts crying. He's like, no, I'm talking about help me, son. And he grabs the gun and puts it to his leg. And he's like, come on, pull the trigger. He's like, no, Dad, I'm not doing that. He was like, come on. I can't be a burden to you, son. I can't do this. He's like, I'm in my right mind. Just please do it. So he's like, no, Dad. He was like, I remember what it was like taking care of your mama because his mother died. And so he was like, when your mother was sick, he was like, I hated it. I hated her. He was like, Dad, no, you didn't. You don't know what you're talking about. He was like, no, I hated her. She was so sick all the time. And he was like, yeah, Dad, and you were always there for her. He was like, yeah, and I hated it. He's like, that's why I gave her all those pills because I didn't want to see her suffer no more. He was like, Dad, you did what? He was like, the pills, they were all orange. I gave them to her. I couldn't see her suffer no more. He was like, please, just help me, Brody. Just help me. He's like, Dad, you did what? He was like, what'd you say, Jesse? And he snapped out of it again. He's like, did you bring your brother out from the field? And he's like, Dad, tell me what you did. Come on, Dad. Tell me what you did, Dad. Tell me what you did. And he's like, did you bring your brother out from the field or not? He's like, come on, Dad. Tell me what you did. It's just, he couldn't get him back. So he puts his dad to bed and ends up, locking the gun away. And he asked him that too. He's like, how did you get this? How did you get this? And so when Bonnie actually came over, it kind of calmed him down. Because he saw her at the door, talking to Brody. And he was like, who are you? And she was like, I'm Bonnie. She was like, and he was going crazy too, because not crazy, but he was like, I got to go down to the mills today. He was like, no, Dad, that's tomorrow. Like, kind of trying to tell him, you really never have to go, but I'm trying to keep you calm, so it's tomorrow, Dad. So, he was like, no, I have to go today, I remember. And he was like, who are you? And she was like, oh, I'm Bonnie. She was like, and could you come by and look at my pipes tomorrow, because I really love that. He was like, oh, yeah, sure. And she was like, but you better get some sleep. He was like, all right, tell Jolene I'll be over there tomorrow. And she's like, I will. And so he goes to sleep. And then Brody's like, how did you know that would work? And she was like, I didn't, but it was worth a try. And then she had actually came over there to bring him dinner. So they end up sitting down. And that's when he ends up professing her love. And she kind of tries to talk to him about Annie, but he shuts down. He's like, I don't want to talk about her and this, that. So that's what we got this episode, y'all. I'll tell you this much. It was fire. Bonnie kicked JB to the curb. We'll see. It looks like he about to come up again. And by the way, the wife of the president is like, you know what, witch? She was like, tomorrow's headlines are going to read Annie Bell, federal charges against Annie Bell for attempted assassination of the president. She goes, what? She was like, I didn't do anything. She goes, you messed him. She actually said the F word, but they bleeped it. And after, actually, when she first came into the apartment, she goes, how long you been messing him? But the other word, but they bleeped it, y'all. I was like, and then I forgot we weren't on OWN. I was like, oh, this is TLC. I don't know if they do that here. But yeah, the wife is not going for that. She had no mercy. She said, we sending you right back. She goes, like, you better go back to Happy Alabama. She came in there, had all the information on her. Every little ounce. She goes, Annie Bell from Alabama? And then when she asked him how long you been messing him, she goes, oh, we're just friends. She goes, well, he's the president. And you're just trailer line trash. There's no way you guys are friends. And was really coming for her. And she's just so pathetic. And like, oh, I'm sorry. And, you know, I didn't want to. And this, that, and the third. Girl, you know what she was doing. We're over it. That's why them ambitious people, it's always good to be ambitious. But when you start to kind of be like, oh, well, I have to run over anybody and forget the people who actually love me to get there, that's not a good thing. But I'm going to leave it there, y'all. So that's what happened. We got Dax, we got Brody, we got Victor, the nice boyfriend. I don't know about Dax yet. We got Valerie, the scorned friend. She's over her. And next week we see she going to be coming for Annie Bell again. The freaking journalist who was like, he did have feelings for her. But when he found out she was like a freaking, his ticket to the Pulitzer Award, he said, yo, I got it down here on my cup. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I will be here for it next week, y'all. Yes. All right. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything essential. Oh, yeah. I want to say she talks to the president and she tells him, she's like, I didn't know you were having me followed. Because he knew about that. He was like, who's that guy you were talking to outside, you know, your hotel, outside your apartment? And she was like, I didn't know you were having me follow. He was like, I was worried about you. You weren't answering my calls. You know, I hate when you don't pick up the phone. And then when she comes in there again later on to apologize to him for messing up about, you know, the name, and, you know, she was looking at her phone and with not returning his calls and this, that, she was like, you know, I don't like it when you're upset with me. You know, I'm sorry. And this, that, are you still mad? And that's when he gets up and, you know, whatever happens, they get into it and I'm over it. All right. But so, yeah, the president is possessive. And he's seen the Instagram picture, too. And he was like, that's why she was panicking. She like, oh, no, take it down, take it down. And they was like, what is you so mad about, you know? So, yeah, y'all, that was the episode. Let me know if I missed anything. We really about to start getting into it next week because I just had to see how the characters were flowing in this, that, and the third. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. It's your girl, Jada J. Peace.